And we're live, recording some One Piece. It's been a hot minute since we've recorded.
Yeah. Well, was that too hard to do?
What?
That countdown?
No, I'm getting better
Look,
at it.
no one say the name of this manga so we don't get copyright striked.
We're gonna read
Two Piece.
singular
Chunk.
unit
Singular unit.
with Straw Hat Ruffy and
That's how you use German.
and the Sea Folk Island arc.
Do
While
we
we
get
haven't,
copyright striked for saying Zoro or Zolo? Which one's a no-go? Which one do we say?
We gotta go with Yoro.
we got
Yoro.
Lola Noah Yolo.
Lola Nola. YOLO.
So this is the first we've recorded since our channel was taken down for these videos and the Joe Jolion videos.
Yeah.
I took less screenshots this time for two reasons. We're actually doing more than one volume. We're just gonna finish Fishman Island because when we lost the channel, Bradley just said fuck it, and he's like, I'm just gonna go finish the arc, and I'm glad.
Yeah, same.
We made a ton of progress actually. So I didn't take as many screenshots for little stopgap points for us to talk about, but I think I captured the ones that would gather, I think, good conversation. Problem is, I can't be putting too many of these. I'm going to still try to put them in the video, but, like, I'm one more strike away from never doing panels again. So, like,
Goddamn.
we're, like, in between. I'm going to start, like, lowering the opacity on the panels so that they, like, clash with the background a little more. Because we have, like, the background, which we use Tyler's thumbnails. I think I'm going to start bringing down the opacity so it kind of, like, might...
What about giving it a slight blur so like you can see what's going on, but like maybe the words aren't as readable?
No, you know what? We put a big roundabout watermark in the middle of each of the pages.
That's actually not a horrible idea, unfortunately. Like,
Except if we did get striked, it would probably play out worse for us.
No, because
we
that's
put watermark.
transformative. That gives us more grounds to argue on, actually.
Oh shit, okay.
Regardless,
What about a giant penis instead?
yes. When we left off in the Fishman Island arc, I think we were just getting to, like, the action. We just got past the big flashback, as I recall. And Hody captures the king.
Yeah, we got Neptune in bondage.
Like Queen Otohime used to do.
Yeah, he looking daddy.
Before we get to, like, the deeper action, though, Usopp's fucking Robin impression is very funny. But we get introduced to this big poneglyph that's in the middle of this coral forest, and we don't really get to know about this poneglyph later. But we do get a name drop that's kind of important here of a person named Joy Boy.
Fucking Joy Boy. I read this and I was like, oh man. Here we fucking go, because like I haven't heard this name before, which just made me think like, oh man, like there's more going on here than I could have thought.
Yeah, more. Did you have any expectations for like what this would contain, or were you just like, it's gonna be the story of Joy Boy, whoever that is?
Oh, dude, I had no idea, but I think it's really cool, like how fucking spread out the poneglyphs are throughout the world. You have one in Skypiea, which is like as high up as you can get,
Yeah.
and then you have one here, which is like as low down as you can
Yeah, that's
possibly
a
get.
good point. That's really cool. And then, like, the only other ones we really see are, like, the ones in Alabasta and...
Yeah.
God, is that all the ones we've seen? Like, 3
Yeah, we've only seen the highest poneglyph and the lowest poneglyph and the
most medium.
Yeah.
Now,
even though that one's underground.
That's 2 poneglyphs in 2 areas that are very related to ancient weapons, so that's interesting.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that later. Here we have this idea of, like, Jinbei not wanting Luffy to interfere with Fishman Island. Or they fight about it, and they come to the terms that Luffy needs to interfere in, like, a heroic way. Which Luffy's very against, because heroes share their meat, and Luffy wants all the meat.
Yes, he's no hero.
It's really as simple as that.
I remember reading this and thinking that was a really interesting to write your protagonist for your shonen manga as is like he's not going out and doing heroic things. He's still a pirate. He's doing things for himself.
I mean, you have characters like Gon and like Eren Yeager that are kind of like deconstructions of your typical main characters, but like they're more like in a darker side. Like Luffy here is still very much a generic shonen protagonist, but like that gives him a layer that's a little different from what you would expect. And I think it's the devil's in the details with Luffy.
He's not driven by like morality. He's driven by his own personal desire more than anything.
But let's not kid ourselves. Luffy's a big fucking hero. He just will never. I love the introduction of Brook's true power, which is the ability to control his soul.
Yeah, and this is cool because, you know, so many other Devil Fruit users find ways to like extend this otherwise simple ability like Gecko Moria. And, you know, even Chopper, who has the human fruit, he has all these different forms of the human fruit.
Yeah.
And, you know, because of that, Brook felt like the most simple. And it's cool to give him like another ability.
Which we'll get to see when the combat happens, that like this is actually maybe my favorite Straw Hat upgrade, as far as their power set goes. Also, this panel of him being like, "Pog, it's me!" Like, that's really funny.
I really like that he has that spook whenever he talks, but this cover page
is very interesting to me.
Yeah, because that's Mr. Man at Twin Cape.
Yeah, Crocus. Who we know at this point is a former Roger pirate, and Laboon is back there. But who the hell is this in the front?
My only guess is I don't think I've seen what Kaido looks like, so I'm just kind of assuming Crocus knows everybody in the world, so I'm like, it's gotta be Kaido.
Joe, you got anything to say?
There are a lot of theories about this character. It's not worth sharing right now. That's it.
I mean, I will share my theory of who I think it is.
Yeah.
This character is the captain of the Rumbar Pirates, Yorkie.
You think so?
Yep, I think Yorkie survived because we didn't see him die. He had to be left behind.
50 years ago.
Yeah, and he could. People lived to like 114 in One Piece. Yorkie was young.
It would make sense that in that case, it would make sense that he's like having drinks with Crocus because obviously they're buds, right?
Yeah, because like they came here and like Crocus.
Oh yeah, Crocus saw them.
Wait, no, but was Crocus already? No, wait.
Yeah, they left Laboon with Crocus. They literally tell Crocus, "Hey, take care of this whale."
But wait, and then 30 years later, Crocus went on a voyage with Gold Roger, so he left Laboon for a while.
Yeah.
That's a little weird of him.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know if I'm fully into the theory, but like if it turned out to be true, I could believe it.
I do think it is, because that'll also be really nice, because like Brook gets to see Laboon and his former captain once he makes it to the end of the Grand Line, or if he goes backwards, however they plan to get back to Laboon. But we'll leave that hanging there for now. I think I took this picture here because I thought the king, like the princes, actually kind of grew on me throughout this arc. They have such bad designs aside from Fukaboshi, but like they kind of put in some work.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
They're pretty all right. They stopped this huge pack of sea beasts, and then I specifically really like their efforts against Hody when it's like the three of them kind of keeping Hody away from Shirahoshi as she's swimming away.
They also stopped Kaku. He's in the background.
You got me. Got my ass. Here's the proper reveal that Charlie is indeed Arlong's sister. I forgot that it actually comes up in the story.
Yeah, because I think we just thought it was going to be in a question corner,
my bad. I thought it was a question corner thing. I also spoiled that Uranus existed a while ago. Like, it doesn't get brought up until this volume, and Joe let me know, like, way back when. I was like, God damn it, I'm so bad.
But I think
to be fair, Willer also spoiled me on Uranus when I got to that segment of One Piece as well.
I'm sorry. It's in my mind for years it had been there's 3 ancient weapons, so whenever the ancient weapons come up, I'm like, yo, it's cool that there's 3, right? Like
it makes sense in my mind because you do like everything in
everything in threes.
So it would be there's like, there's 2 ancient weapons, unless they're literally Kyogre and Groundon, and even then you have Rayquaza.
No, but Rayquaza,
like,
yeah, it's literally a weapon of sea, land, and sky, because I think Uranus is the moon.
Yeah, right?
That's my theory anyways. So, which I brought up way too early back in the day. But
it's like,
it's fine.
I guess, because the Pluton is, we know it's a ship, right?
The Pluton is a ship, yeah.
And I guess that would count as the land one, just because it's not like underwater.
I guess so. Yeah. For some reason, and I think I got this idea from like the murals in the moon during Annel's like flashback or like cover story. Well, I have this idea that it could also be a tank. I don't know why. I'm probably wrong. Maybe
I think the moon is a factory because it makes all those men.
Maybe.
That'd be kind of fucking cool if the little robot factory was one of the weapons.
That was the only thing I wanted from the Star Wars sequels, is that was the plot point, is that they had a giant factory. But no, I could never get my way. But anyways,
why do you care so much about a giant factory?
Because it's cool.
It's a cool little thing you need. Yeah. Take over the world.
It's a thing you need.
You need a factory. We also get the reveal. And this is a bit of a shocker, potentially.
Yeah.
Bradley can let us know that Hody is the one who killed Queen Otohime after all.
Yeah, and it wasn't a shocker. Like, I feel like I could have expected it, but even if it wasn't a surprise, it doesn't make it hit any less hard.
And it hurts, yeah.
Within their world, this is just like an unimaginable betrayal.
Yeah, because they even the people who, and Fukaboshi says this later, like, even after this time, despite like trying to follow my mom's teachings, I still had hatred for humans, because you don't just let that go.
Yeah.
Unless you're sweet Princess Shirahoshi who knew all along.
God.
Okay, this is one of my favorite parts of this arc, which is this simp becoming so petty that he throws the Noah into the square. This is such a cool utilization of his fruit. Also, like, his fruit is overpowered. If there's no limit to the size of things he can throw.
Also, this is his ult in the One Piece MOBA. This is what I decided. Like,
it's gotta be it.
I mean, that's a big ult.
I mean, yeah.
That's all the size of Summoner's Rift and then some, so I don't know.
You just make it smaller. Just a little bit.
So Shirahoshi never talked about it because of her promise to her mom. So, like, she really held on to those ideals. And even, like, Jinbei is like, oh, you're too sweet for this world.
Yeah.
But I do like these small interactions with Hody and Shirahoshi, where he's calling her stupid and just like they're so diametrically opposed in just the kind of people they are. Because Hody is just walking hatred with no personality, pretty much, and Shirahoshi is this charming, hopeful girl that very much takes after her mom.
I think that's why people really don't like Hody, is that compared to like a lot of other One Piece villains, he's kind of like weirdly one-dimensional. It's like, I hate everything,
I'm gonna make the point later that the one-dimensionality is actually what makes Hody so good.
Yeah, because it's like, sometimes in life, people don't have reasons for why they're so shitty. Because he even says, like, no human ever did anything to me.
So, do you have that panel, Willer?
I'll have it later. We can save it when it comes up.
We can save it.
Boy, this is the first time we've seen all the Straw Hats, and I mean all the Straw Hats.
All the Straw Hats.
And shit, let's count Shirahoshi too while we're at it. It's the first time we've seen them since Time Skip. I'm glad Chopper is in a cool form instead of cute form.
Dude, by the way, his fucking one of his new forms is it Horn Point?
It's Horn, yeah. His Horn Point looks dope now.
Oh my god, that is so his best form. I love it.
However, he just lost Jump Point because there's like a SBS where they talk about his forms. He just lost a form for no reason.
Oda's like, this is all of his forms now.
I'm like, no, I remember Jump Point, motherfucker. He can jump high. Also, why is Arm Point so lame looking now? Anyways. That's besides the point. I really like Friend or Foe. You can decide that for yourselves. Isn't that just the epitome of what the Straw Hats are? They show up, they do what they think is right, and they don't care what you think about them. You can decide that for yourself, but they're going to do what they think.
Yeah.
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 We do find out that this was all part of Jinbei's plan to get themselves captured so they could pop out in the square and have Luffy save Fishman Island as a human ally, which might ease the tensions. And as we find out by the end of the arc, it totally does. And it also helps that Luffy, like, he's the guy for the job. Like, if anyone's going to be doing something like this, it's going to be someone as simple as Luffy. It's kind of like a a good usage of like a simple character to tackle these tough issues.
Yeah.
He just cuts through right through the problem. There's the hero line that is very often brought up in discussions when we talk about Luffy's morality. This line comes up all the time. I think there was something else in this page, but they're just pretty much setting up the plan. I like Jinbei's interaction with the crew here.
Mm-hmm. I think it's interesting about Jinbei is like was how political he's being in this sense, because I don't think we've met anyone in the Straw Hat that's like really tried to politicize them or make them.
Not even Robin has really like.
Not even Vivi, who recruited them to take back their country, basically.
Yeah, like Vivi scratched that surface, but like she was pretty much using the Straw Hats as a weapon against Crocodile. Jinbei's really using it as a symbol, and like he's very deliberately setting them on this path.
Mm-hmm. It also makes me like. It made me really appreciate Jinbei more as like a character that has a much bigger awareness of what the world state is like.
Yeah.
So it's another kind of like character dynamic to him that he's much more in tune from his like warlord background of like where everyone is in the world, how everyone views everyone of each other. And I just think it brings this dynamic of like what he could potentially bring as well to the crew.
Jinbei's the one person in the Straw Hats now who has like been a major player on the world stage for a very long time, so he understands the importance of these things.
Yeah, definitely. They do bring up here that the Reverie is this year in the story, which means we might be seeing it in the future. Perhaps this is a seed that is being planted.
Oh, where's that mentioned? Where's that? Oh, I see it.
Hody brings it up. He's saying in the Reverie he's going to show up and murder all the kings.
And murder everybody, yeah. What a great plan.
I mean, that's a Hody plan if you ask me.
Yeah.
Luffy taking out 50,000 people with one attack. And you're telling me that the Muso games are the most One Piece games? Like, yes. You have it right here. This is more than you take out in Muso games.
Yeah, actually. And I liked how Oda was talking about this too, because someone asked about it in a question corner. It's like, oh, like, so if Luffy gets attacked by a bunch of powerful people, he can just take them out? And Oda's like, no, this is like, it's kind of a narrative way to make sure Luffy is only ever having to fight people who actually matter.
Yeah.
You know, it's like an autocomplete for the fodder enemies, you know,
like
and like
in Earthbound when you get over leveled and you just run into enemies and auto kill them.
It's exactly that.
Now it's cool because that question was like, so how many of the 100,000 could Shanks take out? Because and Rayleigh, and Oda was like, well, it's not quite like it's not like as simple as that. It's like a very specific thing where you're overpowering them with your presence, and you can even pick out people in the crowd if you're good enough that can resist that, which is exactly what Rayleigh did when he did it in the jailhouse, and I think he didn't take out Cammy. I don't think Cammy would usually not like faint to this. I mean, Usopp is standing just fine. Granted, Luffy is not in control of that level, I don't think. So I think everyone who stood up here is just strong enough to do it. But I do love how Sanji and Zoro, they know about this, and they expect him to have this ability.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They clearly have the most hockey knowledge in the crew. Maybe Robin has some good amount too. However, throughout this arc, we only see that Sanji and Zoro are the only ones that show any hockey style abilities.
Yeah, because I'm sitting here like, hockey had to have come up in his training with Mihawk, right?
Yeah.
Come on.
Oh, yeah.
And I think Sanji shows some observation hockey at some point in this arc. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I vaguely remember that.
I'm sitting here like hockey is an ability Sanji is going to have to get in the new world.
Yeah,
like I think it's necessary.
I think by the end of the series, I expect every Straw Hat to have at least one of the 3 forms. I'd be really disappointed if they don't all get it at some point. I know for a fact that some of them have developed them throughout the story.
Usopp got to get some observation.
Hey, come on, slow down, buddy. One thing at a time. Hey, look.
Yo.
Yeah, right. I was. First of all, it's just a really cool question corner. I love all these question corners he does with the characters drawn as kids, and then also this chapter cover. I was like, oh fuck! I guess that's what he's doing nowadays.
What the fuck is with the fucking like cult of doctors behind him now? Like that's so creepy.
I love how many updates we've specifically gotten on Wapol. Like I feel like we've gotten more updates on his life than any other character.
Don't forget about Wapol. So,
Oda clearly doesn't want us to forget about Wapol.
Oh yeah, sure.
All right, so looking at our supernovas here, I have a theory about character.
Okay.
I don't think Eustace Kid has a fruit. I think he was changed or manipulated to have magnetism in him in some way. He doesn't have a natural fruit. Like right now, you can look down there. He has he's got this robot or whatever.
Okay, but Beige has a castle. Like you're telling me that he doesn't have a fruit because he was playing with a castle.
But the thing is
no. I will give you this. Oda has never boxed Kid's fruit.
Right, that's my thing.
And we have seen his magnetism shit a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
So you might be onto something, but I don't know if this picture is like.
I just wanted to bring it up.
Yeah,
but because it's just he's there, and just wanted to throw it out there.
I think if anything, something here is really contradictory to a character's backstory, from what I understand it.
Yeah.
Execute though that X Drake was like a Marine fanboy from as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Say the most interesting thing to me here was X Drake.
Yeah, because we know it's been heavily hinted, if not outright stated, that X Drake used to be a Marine that became a pirate. So
yeah, that's what his the God box, Oda God box said he was ex-Marine.
So it's I wonder if we'll get to see what caused them to make that swap. Because considering he was a fanboy as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And then is Law just holding a knife? What's he got?
He's holding a scalpel and a frog because he's a doctor.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Oh, I forgot he's the ship's fucking doctor, right?
Yeah, it's cool that not the captains often have multiple roles. I think Blackbeard is the archaeologist of the Blackbeard pirates, or historian or something. Law's a doctor. Kid's a navigator, I believe.
I think so. Yeah. So probably navigator or inventor.
Only Luffy is just boring captain, man. So.
And I can't wait for the fate of an entire nation to hinge on whether Luffy can beat Bonnie in an eating contest.
Man, I can't believe you know the plot of the eating contest arc.
That would totally happen. I don't know if it will, but it totally would.
I'm of two minds about the events in this page. This is so Sanji learned to fly because he's homophobic. That's the takeaway here.
He's
God damn it.
Because I get the idea that this is the same ability that the CP9 used.
Yeah. That's what I like about it. Cool, it's Moonwalk, and Robin recognizes it as Moonwalk.
But he independently learned to do this technique.
Yeah, but the the context in which he learned
it is a little fucked up.
It's a little.
To be fair, Ivankov did say that his goal was to escape and get away from. That was his training, basically.
I ran away from those hideous monsters.
I know.
I couldn't let them catch me.
I ran away from those hideous monsters who don't deserve rights. Is what he said.
Sanji.
He said it.
I remember when he got blood from Okama's earlier this arc, and he freaked the fuck out. I'm glad he didn't say anything.
Yeah.
Drop some homophobic slurs out here, Sanji. Sanji goes on fucking the wrong places in 4chan, man. Actually, that works in many ways because he's also an incel. So it's
I feel like Sanji Sanji's gonna have some celebrity scandal. It's like whenever they're not filming, he just says this horrible shit.
No, Sanji's tweets are gonna be taken to court one day.
Big old like poster board.
What I do like is hot Robin thighs.
Yeah,
yo, dude,
and
this
big Robin feet squishies. This is what we live for.
This is the best thing since Happiness Punch. I'm just gonna
pardon me.
Like, holy fuck.
This is a great utilization of her power, and what I really like about this one is the progression of it. She's been toying around with like doing layered limbs, and now so I don't think it shows here, but or I might be understanding how this works, but I think this is many legs forming one leg.
I think you're right. That's the vibe I got.
Yeah.
She even says mille fleurs, so a million flower or a million blooms to make it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess it'd be a little gross to draw a bunch of little legs, so they just look like.
Also, that sounds like a pain in the ass from Oda. Like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Oda totally goes the easy route when he draws all these luscious coral backgrounds in the middle of action.
That's cool. But do you really want to make sexy legs unsexy?
No.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say it. This arc had enough feet stuff in it for me to notice that it had a lot of feet stuff, because Nami also gets a moment or two later on.
Hey man, this is all right up here. That's all I'm saying.
Look, Oda goes through his phases. He's always in a boob phase, but sometimes he goes through sub phases.
I'm really waiting for that. Actually, the ass phase maybe came. I don't know. I don't like what came of it. I'm talking about Flampejo, and that's not a good thing.
Yeah, I know.
General Frank, let's fucking go!
Dude, this robot has like the funniest fucking gimmick, because I think like 9 out of the 10 attacks we see it do don't actually come from the robot. They just come from Frankie poking his head out.
I think the 2 attacks. So in the games, the attacks it can do is flailing its arm, spinning a sword, and then falling down, because that's what he does the next page. He like trips and like falls on a crowd of people.
Yeah.
So it's like the gag of like, wait, you shot it from the cockpit is really funny. But it's just cool how like, so we knew that the Sunny had these little chips and like things they can bring out. So it can bring out a bike, a tank, the mini Mary, the submarine, and he can take some of those and create a mech out of it. So that's really badass.
It is pretty badass.
Horn
point.
Point.
The best form. Oh my god, it's so good, y'all.
So yeah, Chopper can now go into... old Horn Point was cool, too. Horn Point's always been my favorite point.
Fuck.
But this one, I do really like the design of this one. He can just go into any of his 6 forms at any time, because he only has 6.
And he also likes to eat candy.
He does.
What's this? Candy.
Oh,
I like how...
So earlier in the arc, Chopper eats a rumble ball in order to go guard point to like block falling rocks, and when he does that, it's like someone questions like, "Wait, Oda, I thought you said he only needs the rumble ball to go monster form now." And Oda's like, right, he was eating rumble ball candy
because he likes it."
Yeah. I like how happy Chopper is in guard point in that picture in the top left. He's like, yeah,
I'm a ball.
I'm the ball, man. The Kraken comes back.
Oh man, okay, this is just the most Luffy left page ever right here, where it's like, he's sympathizing with the Kraken and like, oh, you only did it to protect your brother. You don't want him to get hurt. Why don't you let me protect him too? Like this panel is so Luffy right here.
Yeah.
That's just so adorable. I think that's a perfect way to handle like the situation where it's like, Surume, we're friends, right? And like Surume just turns on the Fishman pirates. Which,
that's all you gotta do.
What's this?
We will bring. I noted this because I just think I like the continuity of like Hachi saying he was the second best swordsman in Fishman Island, and Hyozo is the actual best swordsman there.
It's the little things. Also, fucking hey, like some of the stuff these readers catch, like even Oda sometimes he's like, I really didn't think anybody would catch that.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I definitely
like all the panties.
I definitely like as I was rereading this, I didn't really note that line either. So
Mm-hmm.
I do very much like the crowd of fishmen trying to stop the Noah from crashing. And like it's kind of futile for them, but you got to remember fishmen are on average like what 5 to 10 times stronger than humans. So even like a non-combative fishman is way stronger than we'll ever be.
Oh
So
yeah.
you gotta at least give them props for like the citizens of Fishman Island can do stuff physically because they're just so strong.
And y'all, what's really cool, and Oda does this in a lot of arcs, is that he finds a way to build tension by always giving the arc some kind of timer.
Yeah,
Because, you know, like obviously in Skypiea, they straight up said like, "Oh, this is all going to be over at this time." And then was it called the tower? It was called the Tower of Law, right?
in
Where
any
like
lobby.
yeah, because they slice it open, and then throughout the arc, it's just slowly tipping over, and you just kind of inherently know it's like a timer
I
for
mean,
the
yeah,
arc.
let's go over them because this is actually my favorite timer so far is the Noah falling because the way it got moving I think is really interesting and the way they have to stop it is also really interesting. It's just the idea of like Shirahoshi has to bring the ship up, but then Vanderdecken passes out so the ship now becomes a crashing meteor. I just think that's really cool, right? So some of the other cool timers, the more prominent one in Eni's lobby is the timer until Robin reaches the gates of justice.
Yeah.
Right.
And then in Alabasta, you have the bomb, which is very straightforward.
Yeah, the bomb's the timer.
In
The Paramount War, you have Ace's execution.
you have
Ace's
Ace's
execution.
In Skypiea, you have it. I wouldn't say it's a timer, but I will say like every final battle has like the gimmick. So for that one, it's Eneru is in a ship raining down lightning bolts. We can't get to him, so we can't finish the fight before he. And he also has the Kingdom Come like giant lightning ball.
Drop the ball to destroy
In Fishman Island, you have Luffy's drowning, so that's the gimmick of that arc's climax. Like Luffy's underwater drowning, we need to fight the fishmen and then save him. So
You
like,
mean Arlong
sorry, yeah, Arlong Park. So there's all sorts of like gimmicks that he uses, and they're all pretty fresh. So I just really like that, and they always give.
the sun.
Yeah, Thriller Bark has the rising sunrise.
Like it's just such a good way to build tension, putting timers.
I'm trying to think of
In Fox in Davy Back fight, it's more like a limiter where like this is the final match because it's only 3 rounds. So if we lose here, we lose someone permanently. So there's all sorts of like little meta mechanics going on to make One Piece climaxes more interesting.
And like aside from being good at building tension and making the climaxes exciting, it's also just really good as a reader. It's like a way to assure yourself that while this epic fight is going on, you also know it's not going to go on too long because like you can see a point in the near future where the fight is going to have to stop.
Ooh,
so
Joe, this gives me some new insight now that we're talking about this on the most current arc.
Yeah, no, I had that same exact thought because I was like, we haven't been revealed. I'm like, wait, yes, we have.
Yes,
we know what that.
Another timer is Little Garden's candle as it's turned everyone into candle. So like it's all over the place, man.
Oh yeah.
I really like this line by Hody. In a world dominated by sea, a human who can't even breathe underwater can never rule the ocean. This is kind of like a sick burn. Like it kind of holds true.
Yeah.
Like,
what an ocean master.
What a and also Hody just looks cool here. This entire fight has like some really good arc. I really like when Hody puts on the razor fin. I don't know if I got any panels of that, but there we go. Cool. I definitely did. Yeah, like the motion here just seems good, and like Hody just is a lot more threatening when he's zipping around really fast, cutting things with his razor.
Although kind of impractical, but I guess if you're a shark, you don't have to control your body well enough to use it.
I like the idea that both him and Arlong have special blades that they use at certain points of the fight. It's a cool callback because Arlong has a saw sword. Let's see.
Jolly Rogers with the crew.
Is that why? I think it was more this bottom one, where he talks about how he picked Luffy's power because even when the story gets serious, Luffy looks dumb doing everything. So like, it's a nice way for Oda to balance the tone, and I think that's really thoughtful. And honestly, the fact that you're telling me the person with a rubber body is the one that had the power to last 1,000 chapters. I wouldn't believe that if you told me many years ago. Like, no, it had to be like an elemental power, or like a jack of all trades kind of thing. But no, it's just Stretch Man.
From a pure entertainment factor, it's like if I hadn't read this story or JoJo's, and you explained the abilities of some protagonists to me.
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh, well, this JoJo ability is obviously cooler, right? I want to see that. But somehow, Luffy ends up being the one that you can just endlessly be entertained for 1,000 chapters on the same ability.
Oda had very good intuition when he picked that power.
Yeah. In the other manga, Ace's fruit would have been the main character's power.
Exactly. Because you could do that forever. But, like, honestly, the fact that, like, man, something just about the way Luffy stretches just looks good on a page too, right? Because like, it just lends itself to good panel layout and like visually stunning attacks.
Like a lot of my most memorable panels are just Luffy doing punches and kicks because the motion is so good.
Yeah,
I think the most to me that stands out about that is Gear 2 when you see him fight.
Bueno.
What's Bueno? What?
Bueno.
Bueno, because it's like you get that when you see that gap between his punches, you're like, holy shit, that's how fast he's like punching, snapping back and forth.
Yeah,
it's so cool.
And like, if the main character had Ace's ability, like, to be fair, I think Ace's ability is cooler than just big fire blasts. But after 1,000 chapters, I feel like any power up would just be like, oh, my fire's bigger now.
Yeah.
But Luffy makes all these cool new abilities out of his ability.
Yeah. I want to say, okay, what are our thoughts on all the Hody pirates? Because I think the standout one is Zio. Zio's actually like really funny.
Zio looks the coolest and is the funniest. I just love him.
Yeah, Zio actually, like, in a tier list, we would, I think, have the Hody pirates as a block, and then Zio like a tier above them by himself.
I think you're right.
I think Hyozo's all right, but then all the other ones are just kind of meh, especially this Hammer guy. His gimmick is he says, like, stronger words as he gets more amped up.
But
the cookie cutter guy's all right.
He's okay. But, man, Zio's just so funny because, like, I don't know, he'll either be getting his ass kicked or, like right here, he's being stood on, and he's like, yeah, I'm constantly headbutting the bottom of your foot with my face.
It's so fucking funny. And his fight with Brook also is one of the more entertaining ones. I think, like, so the thing with these fights, when I first read them, I was really bummed because, like, I wanted, like, dedicated chapters for every Straw Hat, but that would be, like, 9 extra chapters at least, right? I have come to appreciate that, like, sure, the fights are short, but there's enough of a gimmick to each one. Like, each one has a small dynamic that makes them still worth the time. For example, like, when the squid guy stabs Brook, he can't absorb him because he's made of moisture. And Chopper can dig down there to go get the little diggy boy so that Usopp can snipe him out of the air. So, like, there's still choreography happening here. It's just fast pace. And this time around, I'm less bothered by it than I was the first time around. How you feel about these little mini fights?
They're all right. Like, I was about to say I like the mini fights with some other villain groups like the CP9 better, but those weren't really mini fights. Each of those was like its own villain fight.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Yeah, that's so, like, that's sorely lacking in this arc, and, like, it doesn't happen very often in the post time skip where you will have, like, the CP9 break into 1v1s. Let's spend some time, like, 2 to 3 chapters per Straw Hat kind of scenario.
Jabra versus Sanji, Zoro versus Kaku.
Yeah, Nami versus Khalifa kind of thing.
Like, the merit I can give these fights is that Oda was mindful enough to make them not last too long. Like, all of these fights, all of these individual fights start in the same chapter, and then I think all of them end up wrapping up in the same chapter.
Yeah, they start in the same chapter. A couple of them get highlights in the following chapters, and then they wrap up all together.
I think Oda is being more conscious about it because Wheeler has a theory about like the breakup of One Piece, and in his theory, like this section of One Piece is like incredibly like the post time skip is incredibly focused on Luffy and his character like development.
Yeah, and the world. I think it's focused on Luffy and the world. So like, Oda has shown us like Straw Hat focused arcs where each Straw Hat gets their moment to shine. I think now he's more focused on telling grand stories and really fleshing out Luffy and stuff. So that's my theory, at least for like his mind space. And I feel like the text supports me there, and I'll reiterate that as we go on. Here's when the ship starts falling down, which I think is just a dank ass timer for the arc. This also brings up this very interesting plot point about the purpose of the Noah. We can probably go into it a bit later when they start talking about it more. But there's some interesting stuff going on here with Joy Boy, the Noah, and this old mermaid princess.
Oh, yeah. And man, like, I gotta say, this thought in my mind didn't last for very long. It was like a minute or two tops. But whenever I first saw the Noah, even after it was called Noah, I was like, is this the fucking Pluton of legend?
Well, I think the Noah is part of the Poseidon. Maybe the true form of Poseidon is using the Sea Kings to pull the Noah and equip it with weapons or something.
A chariot. It's a giant chariot.
It could be a giant chariot. Yeah,
because like the Sea Kings are very obviously tied to the Noah. Like they know its purpose.
Did you get the panel that has Hody say that it's not that they did nothing to him?
Of course.
Okay, I thought so. I thought it came up earlier.
I'm trying to remember what I thought was so striking about this particular one. I do like the throwback now that I look at it of like Luffy removing Hody's teeth and Hody having to grow new ones mid-battle.
I do like that, but I also really like the scale that's being shown here with Hody and Luffy. Like Luffy hits Hody and blasts him enough to go into the bubble of the ship, and then Hody turns around and starts carving up the ship or the bubble of the ship.
Yeah, maybe that's. I like the gimmick also of the depleting air while they fight underwater.
Yeah.
This page, it's definitely the Chopper moment where he's saying, "I'm fine being a monster for Luffy's sake." That's a quite different tune than he was singing when we first met him, where he like really is unsure if he wants to be considered a monster. Now he's like, I'm totally fine being a monster if it's for Luffy. With the wholesome smile. And it's cool that this is a Zoro Chopper moment because Zoro's like his big brother.
It's good shit.
You ain't even worth killing time.
Zoro is so badass. He has a very good line that I will bring up.
Whenever he puts the bandana on, I'm just like, hell yeah.
Shit's about to go down. I can't turn down a request from a handsome man.
Oh, fuck.
Robin's a fish fucker. Let's go.
Yeah.
I mean, Robin likes weirdos, but this throws a wrench into the Holy Land that is shipping Robin and Frankie. Everyone's Holy Land. If you're not in there, you're not getting saved at the end of the series. You'll sink with the ship while our ship rises.
Dude, I do like how
Oda supports Frobin. Like there's so many instances of Frobin in the story.
I was gonna say though, I like how Robin's like, all right, time to go badass mode. It just puts on her sunglasses for this fight.
Yeah,
for no reason.
Here's more as like I really like Brooks. Like it's not flesh and bone that keeps me alive, but my soul. But then more importantly, now he has ice powers because souls are cold. So that's fucking sick. That is the power up Brook like really needed to set himself apart from Zoro. I feel like
He's an elementalist now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, this retroactively makes Lullaby Perry a little bit better. It's all connected, baby.
Yeah.
Because he says here that like his music can affect people's souls and show them illusions.
Boom.
And he also had that move where like he made everyone think they were in a party momentarily, so he could fucking kill them all. So that was nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
I saw that move, and I was like, Willard, I feel like Brooks' moves and Pirate Warriors have to look really cool.
They do. So when he does that, everyone starts clapping and dancing, and then he walks past them and like sheathes his sword, and they get knocked down. Here's the nothing page. Also scary. Hodie's fucking horrifying.
Yeah. Has he taken his steroid pills yet at this point?
He just took a bunch of steroids.
Yeah, because it's like the white hair is like him being all roided up, right?
Yeah.
Bradley, what did you think of the plot point of the energy drugs?
I mean, they're all right. I think as far as like power-ups in One Piece, there's way cooler ones.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I wouldn't consider this a power-up, because here's the thing, even with these, like, Luffy handled him pretty well. Like, Luffy struggled a little bit. But I think the problem with them is that I thought they were a little world-breaking until the end, where I remembered the downside of taking them. It's like, oh, here's why it's never used, like, previous to the story or after. Also, they explained that they got them from the Tamate box, which we will talk about later. Mm-hmm. But I really like Hodie's rhetoric when he starts talking about like being chosen by fate and reenacting his revenge. He sounds like he's on like a holy war, like a jihad, and he's thinking he's so righteous. And Fukaboshi has a very excellent line, I think later on, I might have grabbed it, where he says Hodie's true nature is that he's devoid of substance.
He's right there. Hodie's entirely empty. There's no substance within him.
There we go. I'm a genius.
Yeah. So, with this, and kind of like with prior knowledge of the series, I think Oda sets up like what he wants to write into a lot of his character arcs and stories. Like, I feel like a lot of the villains in post time skip. So in pre time skip, we have a lot of flashbacks, a lot of like motivations for our Straw Hat crew and how they are inspired and carry on the wills of like their mentors or the people that come before him, like librarians. Frankie has Tom, Luffy has Shanks, and Sabo and Ace. Like they are inheriting the wills of the people that shape their lives and benefited them in some way. So I think so on the flip side, I think post time skip deals a lot more with the villains. And I think the villains are inheriting the wills of their abusers and their oppressors rather than their mentors and the people, like the positive people in their lives.
So you're saying Hodie inherits the will of his oppressors?
So he inherits the will of the people, of like the racist, like humans and everything, and he ends up channeling that into hatred. And there's a lot of other characters that do the same thing, where they take that hatred and they flip it, and it's what drives them to where they are that day.
I guess so, yeah. If I look at it that way.
And so I think it's like really about now. It's like it goes back to like good places. Like if you don't have the people in your life that could make you better, like there's no like chance for you. So they get like wrapped up in the only people they have are the people that harm them and just oppress them and just abuse them. There's like one or two like main villains that don't follow this rule, but I think that's primarily because they are setups for other villains. But I like a lot of the main villains we meet follow this rule. And I think it's an interesting concept, and it goes into a lot more depth, especially like one of them like in the current arc like that we love, but we don't know how that's going to go now.
For me, it's like I just think it's so interesting to have this character who has an ideology without understanding why he has that ideology or what it means, or even stopping to question it. He just takes it so one-dimensionally, and like it's kind of brilliant in that way where like Oda made this one-dimensional character, but he also made that the point without it being a cop-out or anything like that. He made it the point, and it works thematically with the story.
It's like if there was a villain in One Piece that I would want to be one-dimensional, it's actually probably the racist one because there's
So-
not like Hody doesn't have a good reason for hating this group of people.
There's no room for that shit. And I think like it's even emphasized more because he kills Otohime, is that imagine if Otohime was able to get rid of all racism in the world, or like human fishman relations, and improved it. What would Hody have? He'd have nothing. He'd have no basis for his existence. So like that's like his threat to him is less of humans but more of Otohime, because it would kill any kind of like motivation he would have to exist in the world.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say, like, they've never done anything to him personally, but he grew up listening to Arlong, you know? So it's like, he's been fed. And Arlong actually did, like, he did get to see the nasty side of humanity. So he got this secondhand pass-me-down hatred, but he holds on to that like it makes him special, like he has a special mission. And I think that's why, like, Hody's not anyone's favorite villain, but also it's hard to say that he's not well written, and I feel like a lot of people sleep on that.
I think, like, thinking about Hody, I wasn't able to read the chapter completely, but like thinking about Hody, like just over time, and like especially after Black Lives Matters that happened last year, because Will and I like Jesus Christ, if Bradley was reading Fishman Island right now, that'd be perfect. But you're right. Like, if there's any one character that should be devoid of substance and like be very one-dimensional, it should be the racist character, because it's just how awful it should be that it is, and how meaningless, and how just like any form of substance derived from it is just nothing. There is none, and I think that's a great way of showing that in that character.
I have a controversial stance on the idea of racism.
Miller hate humans.
But I think I'll wait till we get to like the resolution of these themes in a little bit.
Wait till the end of this video to find out which race Willer hates.
Yeah.
Okay, this panel of them looking KKK-esque, but it like version of it is very unsettling, to be honest.
I saw this image and I was like, that's gotta be it, right? It's got to be KKK imagery, right?
And that's kind of interesting, because it's like Joe's saying, taking the oppressors and like emulating them in reverse.
Yeah. Even fucking Arlong says it, so their answer was oppression.
Yeah.
Like,
I also like how Arlong says like they use their only advantage on a sheer number. So like Arlong still believes they are superior to humans in every way, and maybe they even are. But humans have more numbers, so that's why they can get it. The fishmen can be oppressed.
Yeah.
Man. Reminds me of another series I really like. So Fukaboshi just drops so many fire lines in this like climax. Like Fukaboshi's kind of the heart of like the themes as we keep going on. So he actually ends up being a better character than I remember. We do not need our past, reduce it to nothing. He's very okay with just erasing that path and moving forward if that's what it takes. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, man. Racism is such a nuanced issue that maybe that is the answer. Oda definitely has a stance here. Not everyone's going to agree with Oda's stance, actually. And I think that's really brave to make it such a forefront of his story.
Yeah, like I think it is definitely a controversial take, because there is the old adage, like those who don't remember history are doomed to repeat it. But it's like also Hody has been living his whole life with like he's seen that history is perpetually causing more people to like be racist towards human and fishmen.
Yeah.
So it's like in his world, he can see how like just erasing that history would benefit. Mm-hmm. But then it's like, oh, well, I mean, what if it crops up again in the future? So you never know.
I like the term of ghosts. There's something that are haunting you. It's the idea this is a burden or a weight that's on your shoulders. You need to just shrug it off and take it off. Like it's hard to say forgive racism, but it's like to move forward past to get rid of it. You really do have to move forward and past it. Like you can't just hold on to it your entire life or your entire whatever.
I like how the crowd starts cheering for Luffy to like kind of destroy Fishman Island at a point of the story too.
Yeah, it's like fuck this shit.
And here he's saying like we'll destroy ourselves with our hatred. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
not everyone's gonna like Oda's take in here, which is why I really like it because he actually said something and it's not empty. He definitely took a stance, and I'll go into that a little bit more too. Usopp's a god now.
What? Why is Oh, because of the rubber band.
Yeah, read the arc.
Okay.
What are you doing here? Uh, Red Hawk attack, a very cool looking move because it looks like it fucking explodes through him. Talk about an impact.
Yeah, it's pretty badass.
And I like the motion of it. But also, this is where Haki upsets me because it's like, okay, wait, Haki lets Luffy ignite his arm, but that's not what the color of armament is. But then I remember, no, this is One Piece. The fire is like just there now, I guess.
Do whatever you want. Zoro,
Yeah,
my hands.
I couldn't tell if it was just like his arm was moving so goddamn fast that it caught on fire.
I think he lights his arm on fire through Haki.
Maybe.
And like here's like Haki, there's like Haki like fire and lightning attacks that people do, but like they never like explicitly say that this is something you can do with color of armament. So it just pisses me off because I'm unsure if it's Haki related or if it's just like ability
I
people
guess,
gain with
like,
their power.
I mean, Sanji can do it without Haki, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, or is it Haki? It's just
Oh, I
never
don't
made
know.
clear.
Was it just like hockey that he accidentally developed over time? Like he's just like, oh, I can do this now. Cool.
The problem is Oda never addresses it in the way that is like important to me, but then also I guess it doesn't matter is what he's saying. Like just let my characters punch people cool. And boy,
I mean,
does he.
it's also a good emotional beat because it's like this is Luffy's move to honor Ace. It's
Yeah, Red
Fire
Hawk
Fist.
can be read as Fire Fist, so he's doing Ace's signature move here, which is really cool. The idea of destroying the Noah is super cool. It doesn't quite turn out this way, of course. All right, so here, like, Madame Shirley is telling the kids to look and like see with their eyes what is really going on. The humans are fighting the pirates from the Fishman district. Like the idea Oda is getting to, and especially relevant with Fisher Tiger, is that the hatred won't go away this generation, but it's important not to spread that hatred to the next. That is the only way we can move forward, and like slowly, even our human world is slowly getting there. It's slow. There's still too many
very slow.
Still too many boomers feeding their like ideologies downwards, but we're also getting more progressive as a society slowly, and it's all because of the younger generations. So like
There's a lot of issues in life where I've just kind of accepted like we just gotta wait for people to die and the new generation to take care of it. And man, I always hear a lot of people say they're worried about the younger generation, but I'm really not. I think I don't know. I think they're doing better than us in a lot of ways.
Their sense of humor is shit, but they're gonna be better people. So
Yeah.
I guess that's a fair trade-off. You fucking dumb kids. You're our future. And like, okay, so here's where Oda gets kind of controversial.
Oh fuck.
In the real world, first of all, I'm about to get us canceled because I'm about to say that people can be racist towards white people, which is a stance not everyone has.
Will, you need to leave.
I need to leave. Here's how I define it. You can be racist even to the people with power. Racism's about race. Systemic racism is exclusively for the lower class and oppressed races such as African Americans and Native Americans and such. That is systemic racism. And then there's racism. Oda created it is not an analog of real world racism, and it's important that people don't compare it because in Oda's version, both sides have done wrong to each other, and the oppressed have the physical power to beat the oppressors, first of all, and like they've both turned on each other at some point. In real life, it's one side that has been systemically brought down through generations of power imbalances. So that is kind of what we have in One Piece, but the Fishmen have a way of fighting back, and they've turned on their oppressors in a violent way that I don't, as far as I understand, is not really something like there's nothing in our world to that scale of like say African Americans making this huge rebellion and like enslaving humans and et cetera, et cetera. That's just not how it works. Like the Anglo-Saxons have always had the power in that dynamic. So it's important. Like I feel like this would turn some people like some really radical really radical Black Lives Matter like the more radical of that bunch, I don't think would appreciate Oda's take on it because it's just not how it is in the real world. I appreciate it because it's a form of racism that is maybe, I don't want to say worse than what we have, but like both sides are so nasty towards each other here, and it's so upfront that it's more heightened, and because of that, I think it works more for a fictional story.
Yeah, it's also like it's so exceptionally stupid in terms of like logically speaking. Mm-hmm. Not saying systemic racism is either, or it's just like it's so black and white of like y'all are so dumb. Like Koala has that line of like y'all just don't know anything about each other. Like so
here's the thing, I don't think it's so black and white because the Fishman Island has been oppressed.
Yeah, sorry.
So it's more black and white in our world. Like there's a clearly right side and there's clearly a wrong side. But in stuff like One Piece or like say an Attack on Titan or like a Cobra Kai where they play like Cobra Kai's not racism, but I'm talking about this idea of doing two sides.
Classic characters or whatever.
Yeah, like two sides diametrically opposed and both have rights and both have wrongs in them.
Each other. Yes.
I feel like you're right. I feel like I like how fiction has that nuance. In real life, there is not that nuance really. It's just one side good, one side bad.
Yeah, and I think Oda had to create this scenario that's a little more nuanced than real life to like get the message across, because it's really easy in your story to just say
these are the bad
racism.
Guys.
Like you can say racism bad in your story, and everyone will be like,
clap.
Yeah. But if you don't show an actually nuanced scenario, people might not realize that. You know, that could also apply to them, you know?
I don't think it's like the root of the problem. Like, it's just...
All this to say, as a Hispanic man, I don't have as much race card points as other races. However, I will say...
about, like, 5
compared
to 10.
I have, like, compared to, like, 100, dude. It's not even close. But I will say that I think Oda really told a really cool story about racism. And I know some people in the One Piece community, I've actually seen posts where like, nah man, that wasn't a good take on it. I was like, you can have your take on it, I have mine. Good job, Oda. That's where I'm going. Let's move on to Brook saying cool shit, because here like Zio's like, all of you, we're gonna die with this ship, we're gonna kill as many of them as we can before we go. And Brook's like, what the fuck do you know about dying? Like, I've died before. I could say that kind of stuff. You guys are just being fools.
Y'all are posers.
Man, Brook has a sweet ass line about death in a later arc.
Brook always has sweet lines about death.
Yeah, but I'm thinking of the one that he's standing up to somebody and it's like death is never.
I know, Joe. I know the Brook scene where he becomes the best character. You don't have to tell me.
I do.
First of all, anytime a Straw Hat announces that Luffy is going to be Pirate King, it is a significant moment because every Straw Hat gets one, and this is Brooks.
You get one.
Actually, some get multiple, but like, it's very important how much faith they have in Luffy. But also, Monster Point's controllable now. It's cool, but also immediately made it way less cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's a huge power up, but it was really cool because of how terrifying it was.
Yeah, now he can smile and dance. So
I wish it was more of a Hulk situation where like we could get this maybe internal monologue, or like we get this like back and forth between Monster Chopper and Chopper.
Yeah, and Chopper's like, I'm gonna hit myself with gamma rays.
It's like I liked when there was an inherent risk to using this ability, because then that makes it so he can't just use it all the time.
Yeah, but Bradley, we're in the post time skip where Chopper is the least interesting Straw Hat. So this is just this roller coaster is about to rocket downwards, my friend.
Oh no!
Shut up, though, Radical Beam.
Now that's fucking cool.
Now that's cool. Robin and Nami are fucking tools for not seeing how cool this is.
This arc has had plus 200% laser eyes from Luffy, Chopper, and Usopp.
Frankie, Oda just loves. I feel like Oda really likes putting Frankie in combat situations because he's always so fun and flashy in every arc that he has like a combat portion. Okay, this is really cool because this is an inverse or a repeating of a line that Mihawk said to Zoro way back when he defeated him, where he called Zoro a frog in a well or a frog in a pond.
Ooh.
And here, Zoro with his gigantic penis is calling the strongest swordsman of Fishman Island a tiny frog.
Fuck, dude.
What's really cool is like you think he's just dissing him by calling him a frog even though he's an octopus. It's like, haha, Oda, you're so funny. But then you realize, no, wait, this was like a really cool throwback actually.
Man, that is really cool. I didn't catch that.
Also, he crushes his swords with this attack like he does with Hachi. So that's a cool throwback as well.
Why is this called Purgatory Onigiri rather than just regular Onigiri? It's just an upgraded version?
It's stronger. Yeah.
Okay. Has Zoro said that his goal is to be the strongest man in the world yet? Or the strongest swordsman in the world?
Yeah, he said that in chapter 40 of the series. What are you talking about?
No. In post-time skip.
Oh, you're doing your dumb theory again that Zoro's already the strongest swordsman in the world. If you're right, we're gonna have video evidence that you're Giga Brain. But also, One Piece would be a worse story if you're right. So I hope you're not.
Stop moving, boat.
Forgive me, Joy Boy. We will be unable to fulfill the promise. So here we have another beat with this promise of Joy Boy. Has something to do with the Noah. Makes you think.
Yeah.
The Noah has already stopped. Shirahoshi has summoned all these gigantic Sea Kings. What's cool is that some of these are the iconic Sea Kings you see in like the We Are opening. Like this motherfucker, you see him all the time in promotional artwork. Same with this Stripe guy.
Yeah. I think the guy over here with the big tusks too. Like I've seen him places.
Yeah, these are the OGs.
Like these are fucking Sea Kings because like Luffy was trying as hard as he could to break this fucking ship and it was, taking some considerable time and effort. And most of these guys are bigger than Noah.
They're significantly bigger than Noah. So
these guys are like 5 times bigger than Lord of the Coast was in Windmill Island.
Oh, wait, they're many times bigger than Lord of the Coast. I really like how Wiper is part of the Kami Guardians now. I actually completely forgot about that. And there's there's the whole crew back there too. Kamakiri, Genbu, and Braham. Yeah, I remember them.
I love his new tattoos. I love his long hair. I think he looks like 10 times cooler now.
Wiper's always been my boy.
The Super Lobster Express.
So the Sea King starts saying a lot of interesting lore stuff. It's like, wait, the Sea Kings know more lore than we do. That's kind of weird. And it seemed like Luffy could hear their voice too, and they're like, "Huh, that happened once before." And we get a flashback to Gold Roger hearing the voice of the Sea Kings. Where does this take your mind, Mr. Bradley?
See, that's the thing is, I originally thought that this would be an ability unique to Shirahoshi, and to a degree, it is. Like she's the only one who commands them, right?
Yes.
But it seems other very exceptional individuals have the ability to maybe hear them.
There's this idea that's been in One Piece for a while. And it hasn't really had a name to it. I don't even know if it has a name in the story necessarily, but the fan base calls it the voice of all things. And
fuck.
If you go back, there's been a lot of little drops about this voice of all things throughout the story. And also, there's the breath of all things that Zoro feels before he learns how to cut steel. So there's some shit going on, and
there's some shit going on here.
And I feel like Luffy and maybe Roger both have this ability, whatever it may be.
Remember, Luffy talked to the dog in Orangetown.
Yes. Luffy's always had. Oh man, this is the best scene in Fishman Island, bar none. This is it, boys.
It's bad.
So they have weird blood in One Piece. Actually, there was a really interesting. Joe, you should check out the page that has the Straw Hat blood types.
I'll go find it.
Yeah, but so I really like this monologue that the narrator gives here as Jinbei does the blood transfer with Luffy, where the tiny tube, far too tiny to be called a road, but it is the road towards the sun, and you get this panel that's totally going to be in our tier list of best panels of One Piece, of Luffy sharing his blood with, or Jinbei sharing his blood with Luffy.
It's the road Poneglyph.
It's not
no,
yet.
I'm just kidding. But this is definitely a thing that had to happen in the story. Like it just kept getting set up that like a human and Fishman are gonna have to mix blood.
And the fact that it's Jinbei, man. How many times has Jinbei's in Luffy now? Think about that.
Yeah, and then, obviously Luffy's like, all right, you're joining my fucking crew. Come on, let's go.
Hey, Jinbei,
come on,
you gotta join my crew. Let's go. I like this Rock is shocked. He's like, oh my god, what a scene.
Mm-hmm.
See him? He's like, oh.
Yo!
Gotta get the party spread.
Everyone's favorite part about the end of each arc, we get panels of just like the dopest fucking looking parties ever.
Indeed. There's so much character in all these shots. I particularly like these where Hachi is sharing a drink with Zoro and Frankie. I think it's cute that Hachi and Zoro are sharing drinks. Chopper this whole arc has had a dynamic with Sanji where like he's like, come on dude, get your shit together. So that's pretty funny. I like how Shirahoshi is having some sake with Luffy and her father. Brooks busting it down. Nami is drinking Fukaboshi under the table. Like, it's just... These are the little moments where, like, you're reminded why these characters are so lovable. Here you get the big lore drop.
Robin chapter.
The Poneglyph, yeah, Robin gets her moment in the arc, because she can't combat, so she has to have these little moments at the end.
But she stopped, like, everybody in the fucking area.
If you count Robin and Nami's fights when they're fighting a bunch of nobodies, then sure, fine.
And then she unlocked everyone from the cages as well. She freed everyone.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, she still does stuff.
Actually, that is kind of cool how Robin frees people from handcuffs in this arc, when that was a big point of her arc, was freeing her from handcuffs. But, she drops here that, like, the Poneglyph was talking about this man named Joy Boy, who we don't have any theories of yet.
Right.
And he made a promise to the Mermaid Princess. And Noah was a part of that promise, as was previously mentioned. And the Sea Kings are aware of this promise. So we have to wonder, what the hell is this promise? And why is seemingly Luffy and Shirahoshi going to kind of reflect that promise in some way? Is there something to that? Is it just a coincidence? Who knows? Who is this Joy Boy? All we know, he did live in the Void Century, so that you mean that's important? Like, you just know that's important. And we get the huge lore drop that Shirahoshi is Poseidon. Ta-dum.
Yeah, that's fucking cool, because you never expected one of these weapons to be a fucking person.
Yeah.
It's kind of fucked too. Like, the idea that, like, these people aren't written down as beings with power; they are written down as weapons, rather than like like this person has his power, or like has his fruit.
Yeah, you have to wonder: is the Pluton actually a ship? What if it's another living person? But
yeah,
I feel like that contradicts what we learned in Water 7, unless there's like another way to interpret what we learned in Water 7 in Enies Lobby.
Or if there's another part of Poseidon that she's just integral to being a part of.
Yeah, maybe there's like a person that is also integral to the whole
Pluton
thing as well.
Yeah.
And we have very little to go off of Uranus. I think it's the moon just because I think it's sky-based and Eneru's there. And, like, the drawings on the moon felt ancient weapony.
So, like, the thing is like, they're all named after Roman gods. So Pluton is Pluto, which is the god of death. That makes sense. It's a ship that can destroy entire islands.
It's a giant warship, I would allegedly.
Poseidon, fish. Done. Easy. So with Uranus, that's Zeus, god of the sky. So it makes sense that it could be the moon or something sky related.
Yeah. Like the drawings had the little space people or the predecessors to the Shandians and the Valkyans and the sky people. They seem to be in some sort of big contraption. So I wonder if that's Uranus or if that was Pluton or something. Big theory crafting.
What if it's all just a virtual reality skate?
What if?
What if?
Very notably, though, and you better save this one in your cap. Someone else knows about the Poseidon thing, and it's none other than Caribou. Who would have thought this motherfucker is still important?
Yeah, this guy just, in fact, became one of the most important people in the setting.
Yeah.
like this is huge.
He's the only outsider who knows about this, but we'll have to see how that could possibly manifest in the story.
He clearly does not intend to keep it to himself.
Clearly not. He was talking. He says at some point he had plans to share that information with someone, but it's not made clear who he had plans to share it with. This panel drops another lore dump that Akainu Aokiji fought for the throne, as it were, for who would be the next Supreme Admiral. What's the title?
It's Fleet Admiral.
Fleet Admiral, yeah. And we find out that after 10 days of very even fighting, Akainu came through, and Luffy gets pissed at that.
Yeah, I think we're all like, fuck.
Yeah, so this kind of sets up Akainu to potentially be one of like the last three like bosses or combatants in one.
Yeah, because it's like now he's the head of the Navy, which is the anti-pirate force.
It's interesting because the Navy, they all wanted Aokiji, but the world government wanted Akainu. They're the ones that like gave him the shout out, while the Navy officials like Sengoku and other Navy men wanted it to be Aokiji. And that just kind of makes sense to me. Like, the world government wants the more extreme one who will go the distance to wipe out whoever is needed. And
it was a recollection.
And the Marines will go for the ones they see as like someone who's really in it for justice.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, Akainu is in it for justice in his own way.
Yeah. The election was rigged. Storm the Capitol.
We also learned some. Oh, please no. We also learned some stuff about Blackbeard, but Luffy doesn't care, and neither do we. More importantly, there's so many good characters in the scene. Most importantly, Bobbins, who is to this day one of the best units in Treasure Cruise. This guy is incredible.
Dude, like whenever I first heard the name Big Mom at the beginning of this arc, I was like, "Oh, this character's gonna be fucking sexy." And she's not, but I could not be happier about what she actually is. Like, I told you guys in Discord, this might be like my favorite character introduction in One Piece because Oda sets the mood here so well with like this really intense lighting he's doing here and only showing little bits of her at a time. She's really scary.
A drooling mouth that looks like it's fizzing over.
Yeah.
God. In this scene, very interestingly, she's talking to someone, and then she says, "Are you excited for the tea party?" And they are. And she says, "You can wait for it in my stomach," and then proceeds to eat them. What happened here? I have a better understanding of this scene. It's pretty interesting in retrospect. Another really cool character is in here, but we don't get to even see her speak. And then we get the big shot of Big Mom.
Mm-hmm. Fuck.
And she's on her throne, bending over, and we can hardly make any details aside from the fact that she is indeed a large woman.
She reminds this picture of her reminds me of the width of Baba Yaga in Spirited Away.
Jesus. Yeah, I guess so. So, what kind of character do you see like Big Mom as? I think we've learned a couple of things about how she operates here that I think are interesting.
Uh, she clearly has one fucking goal in mind, and it's food. Like, come on.
And it's cool though because she share like if she's a glutton, then so is Luffy, and that's a neat parallel that they can share. But like she take Luffy is for fun and for like pleasure and to feast with friends. She's willing to kill people for not having the ingredients for a tea party. So she also wants to like do it as like a communal thing, but she's just obsessed with it, where she will actually murder people for this.
Also, she is Bonnie's mother
Is that what you
because
think?
they both like eating.
Interesting. We'll leave that there. This girl has three eyes. That's pretty neat.
Yeah, she's pretty.
Yeah. We get to see here that Luffy just declared war basically on Big Mom before they get to the New World.
Yeah, we waste no time after Fishman Island. Like, we're just getting right the fuck into it.
And we also meet Tamago and Peckham's, who are both really fun, especially Peckham's. We get to see him school a dude later. We learned that we learned that Jinbei he has been working for Big Mom, and he says that it's protection for his crew, but Neptune sees through it. And it's like it's more like it's protection for Fisherman Island. Of course, Jinbei says it's merely a happy coincidence because he won't take the credit for his heroic deeds. And that's just kind of Jinbei's character. He is like a true Yakuza knight hybrid where he will keep the peace, he will carry the burden, he won't complain about it, and when it comes to cutting ties, he's gonna do it the right way. This is why Jinbei is not joining the crew yet. He still has business to clean up before he can sever himself from his crew and Big Mom's crew and formally join Luffy.
Yeah.
But we'll have to wait for that, I guess. This panel of Neptune is just really funny to me. It's like, Minister, is it just me, or is this a really bad turn of events? As it turns out, Luffy has given her a gigantic bomb within this gold bag. So that'll be fun to see how that plays out.
How did the bomb end up in there? Did Hody put that in there after he took out all the pills? Is that what happened?
Oh, it was actually like not one of Hody's people. It was
the minister.
Someone. Yeah.
Oh, so, did he?
The Tamate box originally had the energy pills, which they're not even sure where they originated from. So that's kind of weird. When that got taken, and it was taken by Hody when he left the Royal Guard, the ministers put the bomb in there for the next time that a thief tried to steal from the treasure room. And it ended up with the treasure, which Caribou took, and then Luffy stole back and gave to Big Mom, so now he's giving Big Mom a bomb.
It's pretty good.
So, a man full of joy, a boy even, you might say, makes a promise with a giant mermaid queen who's the Poseidon. Makes you think.
Man, I just can't wait for the end of One Piece world tour where they go see all their friends from around the world. Or all their friends show up at the final battle and help.
I think most people would think it's a final battle scenario. I think when you hit the end of the Grand Line, your magnet reverts and you have to go backwards or something. And that's like a gimmick to let them at the end do like a world tour backwards.
Dude,
that
it turns out that the One Piece is at the start of the Grand Line, so they have to race everybody else to it across the world.
That's some alchemist bullshit.
That would be weird. It's like because it's like inside Laboon or some shit because that's the start.
I'm just ready for Vivi. I'm just ready for Vivi to kick ass in the final battle.
I just think it's neat that the Thriller Bark gang with Lola made it to Water 7. That's just cool.
Yeah.
They're going backwards. They are literally going backwards in comparison to Luffy and the gang.
No, but Water 7's right after Thriller Bark.
Yeah.
So their poses could have still been at Water 7.
Yeah.
Moving backwards to the Grand Line is a mysterious thing, but some people seem to do it.
Yeah, it's always confused me.
The sister, I mean, it makes sense for the Marines because they can take shortcuts and all that, but These motherfuckers did it, so I'm gonna assume that they.
Well, they're also New World pirates, so they had to do that originally,
Yeah.
anyways.
True. You can do it with Vivre cards and Eternal poses, so there are ways.
Yeah, they probably got their ways.
The entrance to the new world reflecting the interest of the Grand Line by having multiple Laboons is a perfect bookend to, I think, the first half of the story, in my opinion.
Yeah, and you see this panel, and you're just like, no fucking way.
There's so many of them. I love how Brooke, like, you guys, if you're looking for a young, like, whale, he's grown up and fine. He's at the start of Grand Line, and like he starts singing to the whales, and they befriend the Straw Hats because of Brooke's singing. It's just such a beautiful moment.
It was so sad because, like, the Brooke and especially the readers, you kind of get your hopes up for a few seconds. Like, is Laboon going to be here? It's been 2 years. Maybe he found his way. And Brooke is so sad because he's like, can't Laboon hear me? Where is he? And, oh, man, you just really held out hope there for a minute.
This was a great segment. I like the indirect storytelling. They never make it clear, but the scratches in their head is because they've been beating against the Red Line too, potentially, to get to Laboon.
Man.
Especially this one on the left, probably Laboon's parent.
Oh, dude, you just know.
You smell like my son.
Woo! And I think that's it. That covers it. Anything else y'all want to bring up?
Bradley, what did you think about the new log post system that got introduced to the Nami?
I'll have to see, because it is interesting that, like, you kind of get multiple options.
Yeah.
And it's also as soon as it was introduced, even before we kind of got confirmation, I was like, obviously Luffy is always going to go for the one that seems to be the most dangerous.
Luffy got the creepiest he ever got, where he like snaked his neck around Nami. He's like, "What you got there?"
Yeah. So I mean, I'm gonna see, what ways it's used. It'll be cool, I'm sure.
I'm bummed Joe didn't reread Fishman Island, because now I think Fishman Island, good arc. I think it's like a solid 3.5 or 4 now.
I'm kind of bummed I didn't read it either. I just got caught up in League and doing 13 Sentinels, and I just never sat down and do it. And my sleep schedule has been horrendous for the past 2 weeks.
Oh God,
I've been sleeping 12 hours a day, and it sucks.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Anywho, Bradley, you got anything?
Dude, I've already started the next arc, and it's pretty litty so far.
Where do you think the series is going, based off of your Fishman Island experience?
Well, oh man, I think before I can really make a guess, I need to see what the other supernovas are doing.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Luffy's the only one who is making waves out here. Like, the other supernovas have had 2 years to do shit.
They mentioned Kid sunk to a Big Mom ship, so Kid's out here picking fights in the new world.
Oh yeah.
You gotta imagine the other ones are too. Now let's hope it doesn't go badly for them, because these emperors are supposed to be pretty scary.
Do we know all the emperors?
I think so. It's Big Mom, Kaido, Shanks, and then it was Whitebeard, and now it's Blackbeard.
Okay, cool. So we now know 3 of the 5, or I guess 4 of the 5 emperors now.
But we've only seen 2.5. We kind of saw Big Mom. We don't know anything of what she's really about, aside from food factories, and we know very little about Kaido, aside from the fact that he fought Shanks before the war. Yeah.
And
also, I like how I made it a point to bring up that Blackbeard destroyed Chopper's island 4 times in this podcast, and Bradley still forgot. Why do I?
Wait, what?
I brought up many times that that Blackbeard destroyed Drum Island.
Yeah, man,
it's been a while.
I just forgot.
It has been a while.
But Chopper did manage to say that, which I'm just glad that Oda remembers, because of course Oda remembers. That's a stupid thing for me to say. Join us next time for Punk Hazard. I don't know how much we'll read. Now that the channel's back, it probably won't be 2.5. I mean, it could be. We could just do the arc in 2 videos, but we'll see.
Yeah.
But for now,
new year, new channel.
Yeah, New Year. It's the time skip roundabout cast channel. So
yeah,
we had the 2-week time skip, which is kind of like sometimes we go 2 weeks without uploading anyway. So that's just how it goes. All right, we're done.